Hi, welcome back to another episode of Geekified. We hope you're well. Today's topic and review is female-led action movies because we've just had an absolute spate of them. Hit Netflix, hit Amazon, hit Sky, and in the cinema, everything. There's been absolutely tons of them. But we're here to talk about three of the most recent, and especially a review of one that we just finished, and it came out last week, and that is Kate. So we're going to talk about female-led action heroes. So, back in the 80s, we had Sigourney Weaver, who still to this day is one of the most amazing action heroes. Don't care what you say, if it's man or woman, she was an action hero. Back then, I did not see it as being a woman-led action hero or a man-led action hero. She was an icon of her day. And Linda, what's her name? From Terminator. Hamilton. God, geez, totally blanked. And Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2. I, again, grew up on that female-led action hero. I didn't see her as a female action hero. She was just an action hero. So this has been a hot topic of the past while of a lot of stuff getting turned into, and it's like, why is it always been male action heroes and it's female, and a lot of kind of female reboots? We're not going to delve too deep into this. We're just going to talk about all the changing dynamic of what is happening with action movies. So hi, Nathan. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Good. So what do you think about everything that's happened with action movies recently, with discussions that's been talked all over everywhere?
I'm a bit like you. I don't really care if it's male or female in it, as long as it's a good movie. And, you know, I mean, it's an action. I always think with action movies, you don't have to be taking yourself too seriously. As long as the action's pretty cool, you know, they got a semi-decent, sort of very linear storyline, and they can get from start to finish in about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, and I'm happy with them normally. I mean, the three we're talking about today, there's two that were utter pish and one that was pretty good. So that's what I'm at, yeah.
I personally think that utter pish is possibly
being nice about
saying something nice about one of them. It was one of the most terrible films that I've watched in the past good few years, and I've watched a lot of terrible films in the past few years, especially during lockdown. But yeah, so we'll do it in not reverse order. We'll talk about the one that's the most recent. Then that was Kate on Netflix. So we're going to wee clip of that over the top of this. Kate is Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's basically been given a poison. She's been targeted for a reason I won't delve too deep into, but she is not got very long left to live, and she is exacting her revenge on whoever was around her, and also kind of becoming an anti-hero, I'd possibly say, given the story that happens. Kind of an anti-hero because she's a bad guy at the end of the day. But for me, what a bloody film. Holy crap, it was. Well, I was expecting nothing when I seen the trailer, and I was like, that looks like good action hero fluff. Mm-hmm. That looks as if it's just going to, I'll spend my evening, I'll get it on the big screen, I'll put my projector on, and I'll sit and just enjoy the hell out of it. And it was more than that for me. It ended up being stunning. It was well acted. Apart from one, with a question, one person that was in it, it was well acted by most people, and I think it was just one of the most beautiful scenes. And it very much reminded me of John Wick. John Wick has got that kind of neons and darks everywhere, and it just looks stunning. And this carried it off as well. And I'll run a clip of my favourite shot, which I told Nathan about earlier, which was basically right at the end of the film. It's the kind of closing shot with two characters on the ground, and it's a big cat that does that with its paw. And it's probably CGI, but holy crap, did it look good. Yeah, so Kate is outstanding for me. I was absolutely blown away. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, I really liked it. It reminded me of a couple other sort of really recent they had that sort of Hitman vibe, a bit like Gemini Man, a little bit. You know, the Will Smith one recently. That sort of, does a hit at the start, goes wrong, and then they have to sort of catch up from it. And then also, I can see the John Wick thing. I just think that I quite like the fact that in this movie, Kate obviously is the main character. Thingy wins. Ewan McGregor's bird. She, I've never seen an action hero get shot so much in a film.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not only is she. Are we saying what's wrong with her?
So
Radiation.
we'll give
Fuck
it.
it,
Yeah, it's just we'll give it a wee second. It's a spoiler alert now. If you don't want to know what happens in Kate or any of the other movies, then you're pretty stupid watching a review about Kate. So if I
Yeah, so she, I mean, she's already dying from radiation poisoning anyway, and then she must get shot about 15 times in this film. And I quite like that sort of vulnerability to the action hero, you know, where normally you see them, they dodge all the bullets, and nothing hits them, and it does hit, then they sort of, you know, get up, run off, whereas she doesn't really do that, and I think that's quite cool as well. I think that, I mean, if we compare this to the other films we're going to talk about, the choreography and the actual fight sequences, she obviously did a lot more work than the other people did.
No, Nathan. They did work. The other ones didn't do. I don't think did bugger all. Like seriously,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
These actually did. There was the choreography of the other two we're going to mention is absolutely shocking.
Yeah, whereas she was really good. I mean, I like her as an actress anyway, in most things that she's been in, going back to like Scott Pilgrim and Cloverfield Lane and that, what's that TV show, Brain Dead?
Yeah, underrated TV show.
Yeah, underrated TV show.
Up there, if anyone's seen it. If you haven't seen it, go and look for it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's on Prime. It used to be on Prime anyway.
Yeah.
But and I've always liked her in most things that she's in, and I think in this she's just really good. I mean, she's very understated. You know, she's not going to win an Oscar for it or anything like that. But yeah, really good. I think it's just a very good film. It's not going to give you a 10 out of 10 or anything like that. But it's a solid 7, 8 out of 10 action movie. You know, with a quite a good story to it as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first reviews I actually read about this was, I think it was from some on The Guardian, I think it was, and he just wrote, it's an action movie where everything's already been done before. Why does it? Tell me what you want then. If I can find it by the time I edit this review, I'm going to fling your review up. You know, what are you wanting? Are you just wanting a different story every single movie? Because I'm a huge movie person and I love movies. And by your logic, we just should stop making movies once they've told one story, because that's just an idiot's approach, and you don't deserve your job. So beat it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I think it was, like I said, it's solid, and I think there was shades of. Was that Scarlett Johansson Japanese anime one? Ghost in
the Shell.
It reminded me of that. I know it's set in Japan, which is probably part to do with it, but some of it sort of reminded me of that a little bit as well. But yeah, no, I just think it's, you know, if you want an hour, it's quite long for an action film. It's about an hour and 50, I think it was. So it's quite long for that sort of film, but you know, really good. It wasn't like much filler in it. Good acting. The young Japanese girl was a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I don't know if she was actually just an annoying actress or just was annoying because she had to be annoying because she was an annoying character, but I never really kind of got. She certainly annoyed, so job done for me.
Yeah,
but I think some of the stuff that I really liked about it was that it did a lot of the things that John Wick did when it was kind of first out, when its first films. It took all the kind of stupid things that happen in action movies, like with stunts and the jumping about and the swords and all that, and then just took it to an extra level, just stepped it up. And like, I mean, for one of the scenes is when Kate is on top of a kitchen table and the guy's got I think it's either a knife or something fork, and it's going right towards her cheek, and normally it either gets onto the cheek and you get a wee bit of blood, or the action hero just pulls it away and gets out of the fight. In this, it actually goes through her skin, and he keeps pushing it through her skin, and it's actually going through it. And I was sitting watching it going, oh god. It's almost this kind of wee, because you don't normally see that. Normally the action hero gets rid of that. And there was a couple other scenes where I think it was the samurai sword, where he finally beats him in the match. And then normally, like, you would get the wee speech at the end of a film, and the guy just goes, "Swoop, head off."
I know that's my favorite thing in the whole thing. You're expecting this long, like, drawn out, so, and he just fucks the guy up, like, just I'm in the chest, cut his head off, and that was it, and walked away. It's like, that's it, man.
And that was possibly one of the most beautifully shot scenes as well. It was like almost in a glass cage. Why was a glass cage in an office? I'm not asking any questions, but it was in this glass kind of cage thing, and then they go in and they fight, and the shot just pulls out lovely, just so slow, right up to the end of it. It was, like I said, it was stunning.
A bit like it reminded me a little. That bits reminded me a little bit of, you know, the Neo training scenes in Matrix. The way they shot it very like that, you know, sort of linear Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat type, you know, that way like that. It's quite cool. Yeah.
It's definitely, like it says, John Wick's hit the map for me. It hit the map a long time ago for me. I thought it was incredible. And I think I'm going to be following, I don't even know the name of the director. That's a bit rude. I should have got that. But I'll be following him and following his work to see what he does next, because I thought that was an absolute banger from me. Banger.
Yep.
On to one of the other two, which we'll go to the one I watched just before that, which was Jolt with Kate Beckinsale. You want to start?
Okay. I had, A-list cast, Z-list production value, Z-list script, Z-list story. It was like a shit version of Crank, Jason Statham thing, but not even like the cool bits of Crank. And I like Kate Beckinsale in Equilibrium, she was in, wasn't it? And things like that. And she's quite good in some action films. It was just awful. I mean, they had like one set piece outside her flat, which it obviously, I don't know, looked like it was made out of cardboard, which they used over and over again. Just really, really bad. I mean, I didn't look to see, was this Netflix studios? It reminded me of some of the Netflix studios ones we've been talking about more recently. It's just not good. Just really not good. I mean, Stanley Tucci, you see Stanley Tucci in something, you're expecting it to be pretty good because he's a top actor. Bobby Cannavale, I love. And just
everything, but that's 2 for 2. No, sorry, that's 2 out of 3 things that I've last seen with Bobby Cannavale that have been good. Good. One being, I'll try that again. That's 2 out of 3 things that I've watched with Bobby Cannavale that have been terrible, and one being good.
Yeah.
The last one I seen was he was in Thunder Force. Why anyone would ever watch that movie, I don't know, and I question myself every day. And then he was also, he was in Jolt, so that's another one. So that was two out of the last 3. But I just watched him in 9 Perfect Strangers, which is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I'm watching that just now.
Yeah, and he's very, very good at it.
Great. I mean, even like when they had what's that TV show Vinyl? He did got one season, got cancelled. I really liked it, and he was really good in that as well. But
yeah,
I don't understand who his agent is.
I just think a film like that, it's an action movie, and I think it is like Crank is a really good comparison. It's one of those movies where you just think, if we can just put someone in it, make it fast-paced and action, all the people like it's like Fast and Furious. Put something fast and crazy in it, and people will go and watch it. Well, we did watch it, so he got us, but it was just terrible. It was really, really bad. I didn't enjoy it, and I'm struggling to. Is how much is Kate? And I don't mean to be. This is always terrible to ask this, but she had work done.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I don't know. I don't know if it was just the makeup and stuff. I don't know. I mean, she was in the news last week. She was in hospital, wasn't she? She was ill or something.
Yeah,
I think I read.
I couldn't work it out. Like I couldn't work it out if she's just got a really good face or it's good makeup, or because she's got to be near 50 now. Eh?
Must be.
Yeah.
Must be. Yeah.
So she's going to be looking a bit older now, but she just looked solid. Her face looked full.
Yeah. But even in that film, even the action scenes were fucking awful, like really bad. And it was so obvious right at the very start that guy, what's his name? The guy who was a bad guy in the end. It's so obvious. Obvious.
It's absolute hit or miss of an actor for me as well. Absolutely hit or miss. He can either be an absolute gem, Suicide Squad, or he can be this. And it's Jai Courtney.
Yeah.
He comes across so well in some movies and then so cheesy in some other ones. Whoever his agent is needs to just think, right, well, you're doing this and you're not doing that, Jai. As much as it sounds like it's going to be fun, no, mate, that's enough.
Yeah, it's just not. It's just terrible. It's just. It's just so obvious it was going to be him.
Yeah.
The whole way through it, it's just.
He always plays a bad guy though. He's always a baddie. Every movie he's in, he's always a baddie. There's quite a few movies I've seen where he's in at the end and he's a wee twist and he's a bloody baddie. Spoiler alert for that. So yeah, there's another action movie where we've had you would think the exact same as I forgot the fucking name of it already. The exact same as Kate, you would expect. Like you've got great actors in it. You've Woody Harrelson, you've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and then you move on to Jolt, which is Kate Beckinsale and David Bradley, Jai Courtney, Bobby Cannavale, and it's just pish. Sorry to steal your phrase there. No,
it is. I even found it quite a little bit. I mean, the whole reason for her going and trying to kill everybody is because this bloke, you know, sort of fixed her and stuff like that. And it's just, I think it's a little bit patronising, you know.
Yeah,
That's her motivation because of that. I mean, Kate was different. It was about a different thing. She was, you know, they double crossed her. She was getting them back and then all that sort of stuff. With this one, it was just, oh, this guy who I met for one night got killed, so I've got to go and kill everybody. It's just a bit, I don't know.
it just, I mean, for me, the story seemed as if it was weak. It seemed as if they had a really intense idea about this woman who just goes absolutely crazy because whatever reason, and then she has to kind of jolt herself to kind of keep herself in check before she goes absolutely mental. But then it seemed as if it was just watered down to the point of, well, as if we got at one point when they're filming going, do we really need this in it anymore? Nah, just take it out. And then they went back and went, can we still just put it in because the film's a bit shite now? Really, we need some sort of story. We've just watched it, guys. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
but yeah,
no, it's terrible, really, really bad. I mean, it's like a B list movie doesn't even cover it. It's like Z tier movie.
Yeah,
and not as bad as the next movie.
Oh God, as much as it bears me to even talk about this film, because holy shit, and I mean this from the absolute bottom of my soul, this is a fucking terrible film, and that's Gunpowder Milkshake. Now we actually had a joke about this. Like every single time we said Gunpowder Milkshake, we changed the name of it to Powder Shake or Powder Shake or Powder Shake. Whatever it was, we never called it the same name. And see when it gets to the point that we're actually just every time we reference a film and we have to change the name of it because it's so bad, because we don't even want to say the name of the film, you know how bad the movie must be. And this is terrible. Honest to God. It starts off like it's going to be an absolute excellent film. It's got a very Sin City vibe and it feels going to be dark and dingy, and it's that neo-noir kind of looking thing that's going on. It's got this cool vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets terrible. It becomes, I don't even know how to explain it, like a shit 80s action movie.
Not even worse than that. It's just...
But I just don't know what Karen Gillan was thinking with this film. It's I understand that people must maybe read a script and see it and think it might be good, and the director says, oh, don't worry, I'm going to make it stylized, I'm going to make it look cool. But then, see, at the end of the day, the action fight, let's talk about that fight that is in the bowling alley. You got that far, didn't you?
Yeah, I got that far.
Yeah, in the bowling alley, the camera's basically going across the bowling alley, moving with them, and they're all doing the moves. And you can tell how staged it is and how bad that every time we're spinning with a hit or like an arm to punch, they're having to speed it up ever so slightly to make it look like it's a proper move. So what's happened is they've either not rehearsed or not done anything. And not actually rehearsed it properly. It
doesn't make any sense either, because obviously Karen Gillan, she's just done Jumanji and 97 Marvel movies. And in both those movies, there's a lot of choreography, and she looked good in them, you know, especially as Nebula and the Marvel movie. She does a lot of that action stuff in that, and it looks awesome. But this one, it just looks like, I don't know, it looks like when you and your mate are out like reenacting a movie in the back garden. You know, and everyone's got this obsession now. I mean, years ago, I watched the Korean version of Old Boy, the original version of it. And, you know, the scene in the apartment block and they go along the corridor and he beats everybody up. And then Spike Lee did it in his version with Josh Brolin as well, a similar idea to it. And now everyone seems to think that's how you shoot a moving action scene now. They're trying to copy it. And that was a different thing. The guy that did the actor in Old Boy was a martial arts expert. He could do it. If you're not that, because it's so focused on you, you can't do it. I mean, the bit she's swinging around the ball and she's got her long legs and they look like, you know, like she's got a branch and she's like tickling people with it. And it's just like, it reminded me of the action scenes in Old Guard. That Theron thing, which were just terrible, you know, just not well choreographed, not well thought out.
That's the sad thing about Old Guard. It was one of the first ever movies that we reviewed on this channel. It is, and it always will be in my head, a great comic. It was a great comic, and it's a fantastic read, but then the movie was so terrible, and I don't understand how it got it so terrible, because Charlize Theron is an incredible actress as well, but somehow I think they just didn't manage to gel everything together, and it just didn't come across very well. But Gunpowder Milkshake, like, I would not wish that movie on my worst enemy. I wouldn't recommend it to someone I absolutely despised in my life.
Yeah, it's up there with Caught, isn't it?
Oh shit, yeah, it's definitely is. Caught, if you've never seen it, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Thanks to Mark. Mark, if you're watching, I'll always remember that. But yeah, I don't even know what to say. Anything else about that? I want to forget it. I actually genuinely want to forget it.
The only good bit about it is you can make up really funny names about its title.
Like
So Gunpowder ups. Powder on, you know, there's thousands you can do.
Powder shake.
Yep. Yeah. You got it. That's it. That's the sequel.
This is it. Oh, please God.
Even you look at the cast in this as well. You know, you had Lena Headey, who's she's not the greatest actress in the world, but she's only better that I've seen her in like things like, you know, in Dread she was awesome. Oh, yeah. Some of Game of Thrones she's good. And it's just like she comes in this and you're just like, it's just such a, you know, what you call it, like a cliche of a character. And then the people in the library, which obviously is supposed to be a bit like the Continental in John Wick.
Yeah.
You know, and I would forget the actors' names there, but even they were just useless.
It didn't even make sense though. So this is supposed to be a secret library, but in the library, the books are open for anyone to come in and look at, and inside it's in. Yeah. At least in the Continental, it was just a ground where hitmen meet and assassins all meet and talk and do. It's still a functioning hotel, and it's a place where they can go. But this is a fucking library where they go, oh, I recommend a romance, and it's got a wee fucking knife in it. You're like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think people are just so. It happens all the time in Hollywood where a film is like a sleeper hit, comes out of nowhere, people don't expect it, and then they try and like bottle that fire and do it in everything, and that's happening a little bit with action at the moment. Everyone's trying to do the John Wick type thing.
Yeah,
some people can do it. You know, we had things like Nobody, Boss Level, even Pig to a certain respect, which has that sort of feel to it. And these are people that can do it really well. Then you get things like this, you know, and even Jolt, we've talked about already. They're trying to copy that idea and that vibe and that feel. And if they're not good enough filmmakers and good enough writers, they can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. There's just not enough in it. I mean, like, if you look at the successes, the people that are behind Kate, the people that are behind John Wick, Nobody, they're all martial arts backgrounds, every single one of them, and they all come from backgrounds of having that type of film. It says, but I don't want to look at Powder Shake either again to look at it, because I just want to forget from my memory it was that terrible. But I can guarantee you, if you look, whoever made that, they've probably got no experience, or it's probably something rubbish they've made before.
The thing that gets me the most about it is fucking Paul Giamatti's in it. One of my favourite actors.
Well, I've got.
He's been in an action movie before. I take it you've seen Shoot 'Em Up, the Clive Owen one.
Yeah.
Monica Bellucci, which is an awesome movie as well. He's in that, so he's been in an action movie before. And he's another one you think. I mean, surely he can basically pick whatever he wants to do, and he's chosen to do this movie, and it just seems a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, very, very strange. When it comes to female roles and stuff, like, I think we've had this discussion before. It's like when people say like, "Oh, guys are sexist because they don't like a certain film, or they don't like it because it's a female film, or it's all women." No, we're not. It's like, it's still my icon of horror movies are female led. You know what I mean? It's like Jamie Lee Curtis is still like one of the horror icon to me, and Neve Campbell from Scream, horror icon. One of my favorite action movies, like I've already mentioned, is Terminator 2, Aliens. These are all who I think of predominantly first when I think of iconic action heroes, and then I even move into people like Schwarzenegger and maybe like Bruce Willis. It says, but I'll think of Sigourney Weaver. That's one of the first ones that comes into my head for action hero. But yet, people just deem like if you don't like something, it's going to be sexist. So I'm sure people will be up in arms at the fact we don't like 2 out of 3 of them. But I think more. That's what I'm saying. I want more of them. Yeah,
I think I've said to you before. I watched the Netflix show Black AF with I can't remember the guy's name, Rashida Jones, and there's an episode in that when they talk about how they can't say they don't like a film that's by a black director because people say that they're being racist because it's by a black director when it's just a bad movie. And I think it's that sort of thing as well. Just now, where that happened with Old Guard, we thought it was terrible, but it got great reviews and everything. Everyone said it was great, but I think even. And it happens a bit when people die as well. You know, things get sort of like beatified and stuff like that because they died. It was great. Well, it doesn't make it any better or any worse. It just makes it what it is, and you just got to. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, like I've said to you before, I'm not a huge fan of The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. I don't think he's that good in it. I think he's okay. I think there's a lot of hysteria around it because he died shortly after finishing filming it.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. I don't think he was fantastic. I thought there's been better villains in superhero films. That's my personal opinion. Other people disagree with me. That's fine. But people, I don't. They're sort of like you've got to like it because he died when he made it. Well, no, I don't. You know, I can think it's terrible. You know, it's like if Robert De Niro suddenly died tomorrow, and some of them, the last few years, most of the films he'd made have been terrible. Yeah. And he admits it himself. They don't suddenly get good because he's dead. Yeah, you know, it's like an action film doesn't suddenly become good because a woman is in the lead in it.
Yeah.
Is it an advancement in the sort of social construct of Hollywood? Of course it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it a good film or a bad film. It just makes it a film that's got this character in it, and it's whether it's well shot or well acted or whatever. I mean, one of the best sort of secondary characters in any action film there's ever been is Halle Berry in John Wick 3.
Yeah.
Awesome, absolutely awesome. You know,
I've still got one of the best lines I've ever seen in the film.
Yeah.
Is when they're meeting outside and the guy shoots her dog, and then there's a big massive gun battle, and basically all of them are dead, and then the two of them just look at each other, and she looks at him and goes, "He shot my dog," and he just turns around and goes, "I know." Because the whole fucking story of John Wick is literally his dog getting killed. I thought that was just such a clever wee line. That's brilliant.
Yeah, but just like I just think that I think we've got to get away from this. I just judge it by what it is, whether it's a good film, whether it's a bad film, whether the person in the lead is good, whether they're bad, and I don't go by this. It's got to be okay because it's a white person or a black person or a female or a male or a non-binary or whatever. That's not anything to do with it. It's just if it's good if it's good and it's bad if it's bad, and that's it.
I completely agree with you. And unfortunately, two of those three films are female-led action hero ones that came out. But then again, if you think of them in action movies that do come out in general, probably more than two or three of them are shit anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Army of the Dead, Shang-Chi.
Don't you start on Shang-Chi, and don't you leave my Army of the Dead out of this. But I think like for me, what really, really was a winner was Kate. I was absolutely blown away. But I don't know if it was because I wasn't expecting a great deal from it, and I was just expecting a popcorn film, and I actually got a very high polished, well acted and well written script, which was mega surprising.
Yeah, and obviously not a huge budget either. So it's always, I think sometimes these action movies, they work better if the budget's not so big. If that makes sense. You've got to concentrate more on the action and the fights and the camera angles to make things happen, which sometimes makes things a bit more interesting. You saw that a bit with because Michael Knight Shyamalan, I can never say, obviously made Split. He hadn't made a good film for a while. Had a very small, I think it was $9 million budget.
Yeah.
Did really well. It's an amazing movie, which is now apparently going to get cancelled as well on Netflix because of the woke tards. Split. They think they're making light of multiple personality disorder, so they want it cancelled on Netflix. The woke tards. And then he got lots of money to make Glass, which was not so good. Because they feel like they have to spend all the money,
Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't as good a movie. It was still good. Still enjoyed it. It just should have left that mythology of those characters alone.
Yep.
But well, I'm really hoping. To be honest, to leave this with the whole point, I was actually gutted that she bloody died in the end. That was the sad part of it, Kate. I was just hoping that it was something that was going to come through and something that they're going to just lie about the polonium or whatever.
Yep.
Nah, she's bloody dead. We're not.
See the state of her neck towards the end as well. All the bed. Oh man, it's making me feel sick. I was bulking watching it.
Yeah, but I did. I kind of, as much as I hated it because I would watch another one tomorrow without a shadow of a doubt. I was a bit kind of happy as well because I was thinking it's such a good movie and it closes just a great story. This is why, because everybody's kind of guilty in Hollywood just now of just going, oh, we need to make 15 of them because it just makes money.
Yeah.
But they've just taken this
Marvel.
film, closed it, and in its own wee world. It's brilliant.
Marvel.
Marvelized. That's what you call it now. Just making an absolute universe.
Oh yeah, no. Here's a template. Just change the characters around. There you go.
Aye, exactly. That's pretty much exactly what it is. Well, thanks very much for joining us. I'm sure there'll be more topics coming up on the basis of action heroes and female-led stuff and male-led stuff and all the different stuff that's coming up, and we'll be talking about it relatively soon about something else, no doubt. But that was Kate, Jolt, another movie that I'm just going to forget because it was terrible. But yeah,
Gunpowder.
that's the one. But thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers.
We can do this all day.